Hey folks, it's me, Michael Bach, your diversity dude, and it's time for another episode of Monday Morning Musings. So I'm supposed to be talking about a really exciting speaking engagement I have coming up in September, but I can't because the alt-right decided to hijack my plans. So thanks for that. And by the way, no coffee, so this should be fun. I need to talk about Quebec City and what happened over the weekend. If you don't know, there was a protest by the so-called alt-right, so-called white nationalists, or as I like to call them, racists, who protested in Quebec City against what they perceived to be Islamic terrorism and illegal immigration. There's been a lot of refugees pouring into Quebec over the past few weeks. And what happened is they ended up getting stuck in a parking garage because there was a counter-protest, and the counter-protesters kind of trapped them in the garage, and the police had to break up the counter-protest, and then the alt-right protesters walked silently through the city of Quebec and then went home. So I'm not here to talk about the protest. I don't care about the protesters. Come on. They got trapped in a parking garage where they waited until the police rescued them from those evil counter-protesters. Yeah, there's bravery for you. No, what I need to talk about is the counter-protest. This Quebec City descended into madness, not because of the protesters, but because of the counter-protesters. Because a group of people, some of whom I have to assume are not actually there because they really care about fascism and racism and Islamophobia, but they're anarchists and they're there to cause disruption. Because the protest, or counter-protest rather, turned violent, where we had people throwing things at police officers. I'm all for protesting. I've been protesting my whole life. I'm a big fan of it. It's important. I'm all for counter-protesting. If you see something you don't like, you stand up against it. But we don't do that with our fists. We protest with word. We protest with our hearts and our heads, not with our fists. And it broke my heart to see good people, smart people, descending into the base reaction of violence because they were so upset. And unfortunately, when that happens, you don't affect change. People stop listening. And I was watching the National on CBC last night, as I do most every night, and they had a panel talking about Quebec City. And one of the panelists, who happened to be from a Black Afro-Caribbean heritage, he challenged Caucasian people. He challenged us to stand up and be part of the solution. And I have to agree with him. The reality is I live in Toronto, and half of the city, at least half of the city, is not Caucasian, but the other half is. And until we all stand up to issues of racism, until all of us stand up to this fringe, small group of people who are completely blinded by their racism. They don't even acknowledge that they're racist. They have every excuse that they're not, but they are. If we look up the definition of racism, there's a picture of them there. If we don't stand up to that fringe, it will continue to grow and blossom. Canada is not about racism. And all Canadians, my challenge to you is to stand up against it, to be an active ally to communities that don't look like you, to standing up to intolerance and shutting it down where it stands. We must protest with our hearts and hands and not with our fists. So that's it for me. I hope you have a glorious week. And provided the alt-right doesn't do something silly next weekend, I will be telling you about my speaking engagement, which I'm super excited about. I hope you have a wonderful week. Be sure to, I'm pointing up where you can click to subscribe to my channel. And I will see all of you next week for another episode of Monday Morning Musings. Take care.